Give me a second here. I'm on this here on the fancy one. On the fancy little stream thing. I got to figure out a way to share it. Y'all give me a little second. Okay. So copy the link. Share that there. Put this here on that there. Uh-oh. Y'all give me 1 second. Nay. On YouTube. All righty. Get that together. All right. Now, remember on the Q&A to put a hashtag Q in front of your question so I can see that there. And so I can see your question there. Now let me see here and see how this here work. Okay. Now this should be members only. Yeah. Baby daddy blocked me from everything and does not ask about his 4-month baby. What should I do? You got to do you. You got to take care of your child. You got to be there for your child. You got to stop sniffing his booty. You got to worry about yourself. You know, as my college football coach used to say, that's how the mop flops and how the cookie crumbles. So it ain't nothing you can really do about it. But when you treat him like you don't need him, he might hit his head one day and wake up. Do you think you'd ever consider doing marriage or coupling counsels for couples considering marriage? Well, coaching is different than counseling. So I'm not a counselor, but I've done coaching and I do it. I just rarely, I'm not doing one-on-ones and things like that right now, just due to my schedule and just being all over with the kids. Like, it's just real hard. So that's why I haven't done it this year. But I'm hoping if I could figure out a certain time a week that I could get available. But it's like any time that I set, my sons always have something come up that my wife need me to do. Tony, how long is too long? Year 5. That'll be too long. That'll be too long for dating. It's really 3 years. I used to say 2 years, but I changed it to 3 because of social media, because of podcasts, because of different little stuff going on. I changed it. But it don't take that long to know. Now make sure y'all put hashtag Q in front of your question so I could easily recognize it. How do I get my husband to stop listening to the man in the dark? That's going to be a long shot there. That's going to be a long shot. And it's going to take you using your woman's influence. It's going to take you showing him that the stuff he trying to implement and the stuff he listening to, the stuff he doing is not working on you. Because if it go to working on you, he going to keep listening. So if your husband listening, you got to listen. So you know what to expect and what not to do. That's what men started to do when they realized I was giving relationship insight and that it was bringing women out of the darkness and women was being, set free. Guys started watching to see how to counteract it. When what I'm trying to do is level the playing field so that we have healthy and happy relationships. But with the man in the dark, it's really ruining and destroying relationships. It's gonna have people same place he in, you know, the rest of these guys either never married and unhappy or multiple divorces and unhappy and being the culprit versus the one that's trying to help things out. I'm 23, he's 35 with two kids by two different women. I feel it's too much baggage, or am I being judgmental? No, you ain't being judgmental. That's a lot. That's a lot he got going on. And just fortunately, you not in his shoes, but a lot of times women have that going on and be feeling a type of way when a man don't want to be with them. But everybody get their choice. So the same way a man choose, if it was the other way around, you'll have, you know, the man will say you got too much baggage. So the same thing goes. Is my ex controlling? Is he doesn't want us to choose a church together? Um, well, for one, what throwing me off is you asking about your ex. So I'm not understanding really why y'all ex. Why are you talking about your ex? That's the first issue. And then two, I don't know why y'all choosing a church together unless you talking about for you and his child to go to. But either way, whatever it is, then yes, that would be controlling. Y'all give me 1 second. I forgot to invite the Lord in the room. Had to invite the Lord in the room. I literally walked in the house. I just got in the house from soccer practice. Just got in the house. My wife gassing up her mom vehicle. I mean her vehicle that she drive the boys around, and my youngest son had to come get right in the tub, and my oldest son still doing homework, and I literally came right to this here. So y'all got to forgive him. I forgot to invite the Lord in the room. My husband doesn't date me, and I have told him how important that this is to me. What do you think this is? Well, as long as you are going to tolerate something, that's all you going to get. So you have to make things at some point that it has to be an ultimatum. At some point, he got to stop getting what he wants. So if he don't date you, the next question is, are you sleeping with him? And if you sleeping with him, then you reinforcing him not dating you. But if you're not sleeping with him and he's like, well, what's going on? How you want me to be with you? How you want me to be faithful if you won't sleep with me? And then you say, well, listen, in order for me to sleep with you, I need you to date me. Like, we need to go on a date. This ain't no wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Like, I need intimacy. We need quality time. And again, that just go back to the podcast that's out here today. And the state of men is really going down because of the stuff that's out there. That these men, men starting to feel like the prize and starting to treat the woman, like trash. Let me see. I was talking to a guy. Now I like using this thing here now because it don't just rush all the messages for me. I can scroll down one question at a time, so I really ain't missing people. I was talking to a guy only one day and asked him what was he looking for. He said fun, and he didn't want to get married. I want marriage, so I cut him off in one day. Was I wrong? No, you were real right. And I wish more people to start doing that. Because a lot of times a man will tell you what he do and don't want, and women are ignoring, thinking that he joking or thinking they can change him, and then look up 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line and then asking Tony how long is too long to be dating when the man showed you in the first 3 months where he was. And so that's good you did that. Early on, within the first 3 months of dating, should a lady disclose to a man that she is dating for marriage, or is that something that a lady should keep to herself? To be honest with you, I don't think there's really a man in the world that think a woman is dating for anything other than marriage. So that's not really, especially if he didn't pluck you off a pole. Now, if he plucked you off a pole or he plucked you off the street corner, which some of those women still want marriage too, even though they selling their body, they still want marriage. Some of those women still want marriage. But if a man ain't pluck you off the pole or a street corner, he know that you dating for marriage. Unless you one of the other kind of women that's out here hollering about they don't want to get married, really just because they tired of getting their hopes up and getting their feelings hurt. But and so they just gonna give in. Bless you, Tony. Strategies to attracting more coaching clients. Um, Jaleesa, if you have taken my life coach certification course, they're pretty much gonna have everything in it that you need. You just gonna have to listen a few different times, and just hear it different ways. A lot of time when y'all take the course, y'all rush through it, but it's really a 7-figure blueprint to where you got to go through each video and take notes on each video and make sure you take your time with it and really flesh it out. Just like anything we read, when we read it a second and a third and a fourth time, we hear something different each time. So take your time and go back through it. And when you hear something, instead of just listening through, pause and then activate that little action step. I'm constantly approached by men and don't have an issue with that, but each dude has had garbage character. I live in Atlanta. Is this protective custody by God or a bad location? Um, it definitely a bad location, could be definitely a bad location. Whether it's by God or not, that's really up to your spiritual discernment, because I don't know you and I don't know how you're living. And so I can't say that God is intervening in your dating life, not knowing you personally, but that's up to your spiritual discernment. And are you leaning on God, praying to God, walking with God, supping with the Lord to where he would intervene in your life to protect you in such a way? But Atlanta can be known to be trashy for dating just because it's so many women. And most men don't have the strength to look beyond the outer appearance and to not be distracted by the bodies and the shapes, the outfits. And so Atlanta is a place to where it's such a plethora of women and it's so much booty and so much beauty that your typical everyday man is just going to be like a kid in the candy store. And he just looking, for a good time until he start to get old. Do most men prefer not to date women with kids? Most men prefer not to date a woman with kids unless he have kids. Um, just like most women prefer to date men without kids. So it's not really a man and one, it's a human thing. Just like the young lady said earlier that she worried about this guy who got these 2 kids. Like, so it go both ways. It just, humans don't like somebody else stuff. So a man, when he coming in, when he getting to know the woman, that woman has to be just for him. That meaning that woman got to be his wife for him to be okay with her having kids. Whereas a man may talk to a woman that might not be all the way there if she single with no kids. But when a woman have kids, it got to be a good fit. Like he got to feel like that's his wife. You're his wife. And then when a man don't care nothing about a woman having kids, that's honestly could be a red flag unless that you're just that woman. If you're like that and you're that woman, you got that oil on you, then okay, that's why he is acting like that. But if it ain't like that and you done been passed up on by other men because you have children, a man who's super excited and not, the kids don't matter at all, that's not human nature. So you want to look a little, you want to pause right there and not get too excited, because like that post I posted on the community page the other day with the man who was on the dating apps getting with women, with single moms, so he could get to their youngins. So you got to understand that too. And don't get down about it. It's just how life happens. And sometimes your children could become your protective custody that's repelling the men that's not for you. So it don't look at it as a bad thing. I'm a 37-year-old. I'm a 37-year-old single mother of a 10-year-old, and I find it so difficult to date. I have worked on the 3 Bs, and I want to be married. How should I get out there to be able to date? Well, you really don't want to force it if you find it so difficult. You don't really want to force that. You got a 10-year-old. Although your 10-year-old is, older, that's still very needy. I got an 8-year-old, and I know at 10 he's gonna be a little more independent, but 10 is still needy. And so, whereas with my 14-year-old, who will be 15 this month, I could imagine somebody having a child that age, dating could be a little easier because they're a lot more independent and old enough to be home by themselves, legally at the age of 14. But at 10, if you find it difficult, don't force it. Don't force it, because when it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. Here is a question: what makes a person not spend time with their child? It could be a million things, and it varies on the person. It honestly just varies on the person. I can't, well, I could fathom it, but it's exactly what you think it'll be. And I know sometimes y'all ask that question just to kind of as a form of therapy, because you can't really understand what'll make a person turn their back on their child, but that person could have had backs turned on them and just never connected with love. And so people do what they know. How should I deal with a man with trust issues? He's been cheated on so many times. I have done no cheating or lies, but he has ways of showing that he has work to do. If there is no trust, there is no relationship. So there has to be some trust in order for you to have a relationship. And if you don't have that trust, you really don't want to try to force that situation, because it could end up having that man doing some things and acting in a way that you don't want that to be the case. And so, and me personally would question a man who have been cheated on so many times. Either one, he lying, because it's not like women, if they're gonna cheat, they often don't get caught. So a man who got multiple cases of being cheated on, and this from somebody who was with over 100 women by the age of 21, it was one woman that I caught or found out about cheating on me. And I couldn't be mad about it because I had cheated on her with 8 different women. So one thing I saw often, though, was me being a liar and a cheater, and the woman staying faithful. So I question a man who has been cheated on multiple times. It sounds like to me he been trying to date out of his league. He been trying to buy women. See, sometimes when a man not supposed to be with a woman and he try to get her with his money, but she really don't want to be with him, she'll cheat on him, because he might be safe and secure because he want to pay bills, but the woman might have a Jezebel spirit on her, and he's attracted to her because she a stripper, because she sell her body in another way, because she loose, because she promiscuous, and she easy, so he could hop right in the bed with her, and then he get cheated on and act like he's surprised. But a man of character is going to choose a woman of character. So I question a man who done been cheated on countless times. I question his discernment. I question his character, because a man who got some character and integrity, he's not gonna be just picking no any old woman. And contrary to popular belief, take it from a man who had women, it's a lot of men who look like the bottom of this shoe, and they look like the bottom of a shoe, and they holler about, oh, women so sorry, women just be cheating, women just be, and it's really because they got an ugly spirit and they got an ugly attitude, and so they picking wrong with the women they dealing with, and they getting cheated on because they picking the woman with the little head instead of the big head, and then they label all women that way, and they disgruntled, and they get them a podcast in the dark. And so that kind of pushes that narrative. But take it from a man who had women, and unfortunately, and I'm not proud of it, but it just was my path in life. It ain't easy to get a woman to cheat. And any man that tell you it's easy to get a woman to cheat, is he cheating with a woman who she already broken. But it was a many times that I approached women and they said, I got a boyfriend, and keep walking. It was a many times I approached women and they didn't even acknowledge me. So that let me know that this whole narrative that every woman cheat and women cheat more than men, from a man who had women, from a man who, when I was out in the world, slept with 3 women in one day. And that's a part of my story. That's how I do what I do. That's why I teach the way I teach, because I played the game. From a man who was out there on that level, it's not true what these guys be pushing this here whole thing of every woman cheat and women cheat. It ain't true. But if you going out and you plucking a woman off a pole, a woman who sell her body, a woman who she was raised by wolves, a woman who is a savage, a woman who she done been dogged out and abused and mistreated, and she just done gave up on hope and love, yeah, you gonna get cheated on, because she out there is survival of the fittest. And she like, hey, I got to play the game or I'm gonna lose the game. And then you get one of those type of women. But when you look at their story and their background, you see how they got to that place. They ain't just wake up, jump off the porch and say, I'm finna be a savage. No, you will see what happened to them at 3 years old, what happened to them at 8 years old, what happened to them at 10 years old, at 15 years old. And then that'll explain to you this why she giving her body like this, because she don't have a sense of self-love or ownership in her life, because she been violated since she could walk. And so that's the story that a lot of men won't be honest about. And, it's painful for me to say, because, of course, you want to feel sorry for yourself as a human and make excuses for yourself. But when you're just really honest about the data and what's really going on, you just got to be real. Hey, Tony, hope all is well. I want to know some ways to build a deeper connection with the guy I'm talking to. We go on dates and met the family, but I'm tired of these surface level relationships. Well, conversation rule a nation. And so you're going to have to go deeper by really deepening the conversation. It really ain't even about a date. It's kind of like you got to go into the mindset like you Oprah, and you interviewing him for his legacy interview. And so you need to really ask him real questions that get beneath the surface about his hopes and his dreams and the inner workings of his hopes and dreams. See, the thing with a lot of women is a lot of women just want a ring and a white picket fence and a house for Instagram and Facebook. But if you want to go to a deeper level with a man, you got to really care about that man and his hopes, his dreams, his heart, his interests. And you got to understand the inner working. So if a man is a truck driver, you need to know by the end of the 3rd month, you need to know how to be a truck driver. Like, you should have talked to him that much that you understand the ins and outs of truck driving, that if he passed away and you needed to teach somebody how to become a truck driver, you could teach them how to become a truck driver. And that's why it's surface level, because a lot of times with women, y'all just trying to get to the goal without doing the digging. And so you got to do the work. And the reason why I say this, because I done coached so many women, and I'll say, well, what does he do? And the woman will say, I really don't know. He does something in construction, but I really don't know what he does. And then I say, so now are y'all sleeping together? Um, well, Tony, I know what you're gonna say, but yes, we are sleeping together. I said, okay. Now, how long y'all been talking? Well, it's been about 6 months. Sometimes I done heard 10 months, I done heard a year. And the woman literally say she really don't know what the man do. And that right there, a man could tell if you really care about him or not. So if you not gonna really try to get to know him and the inner workings of who he is, then he gonna keep it surface level so that he can hurt you without a conscience. So he could cheat on you without a conscience. And that's what you got to understand. What are other ways to identify your gifts? When I ask my family members, they don't say much besides kindness, compassionate. Well, if they don't know you that well or what you do, then and kindness and compassion is a gift. That means you could be in a service field. That means you could be a life coach. That means you can start a nonprofit organization. You can start a service-based business. And so that's gift enough in itself. But the next thing is to really ask yourself, you can ask yourself, well, what comes natural to me? So like what I'm doing right now, I'm going through questions and I'm reading the question and I'm answering the question without any prep. And my mind is giving me an answer. That's a gift because I know not everybody can do it. Other people can do it, but not everybody can do it. So that's how you identify your gift. Is like, what can you do that I can't do, or that your neighbor can't do, or that your friend can't do? That's one of your gifts. And so that's how you do that there. Good evening, Tony. Do you think it's becoming normal for women to start getting comfortable with singleness and wanting to remain that way? Thoughts? I don't think it's becoming normal. I think it's the lie is becoming normal. And don't nobody really want to be alone. It just when we have not obtained something, we tell ourselves that we are okay with what we have. It's a coping mechanism. Everybody want love and everybody want to be loved. The people who say they don't want love and they want to be single, it's really coming from a place of fear or a place of hurt or a place of frustration or a place of being tired. And so you get to a place to where you enjoy your peace because of the pain that you have experienced. But given a choice, we want to have a companion and somebody to love. And so I had a quote a long time ago that says, don't convince yourself that you don't want something just because you can't obtain it right now. Because when you start saying, I just want to be single, I just want to be single, you're going to speak that on yourself, and you could meet the love of your life and you will repel the love of your life because of what you keep telling yourself. So it's okay to be content, but still be ready for more. Like it's okay to say I'm happy being single and I love being single and still be open to love versus just shutting it all the way down. Thank you, there, Share, for them courses there on Tony Gass's Academy. What does it mean when a man says you're a spitting image of him? He met the female version of himself. Is this good or bad, or is he just running game? Um, in a relationship, it's a bad thing because our strength is in our differences, not our similarities. If you the same, you're not really gonna get along. because you stacking on top of yourself. A relationship is like a puzzle. So if y'all got the same exact shape, then you can't complete the puzzle. So you got to be able to fit around each other. So the ideal situation is somebody's strengths are your weaknesses, and your weaknesses are their strengths, so that you can complement each other. So if that's true, it's not necessarily a good thing. And if it's not true, then of course it's just game. But um now share one of the moderators in here. She in here announcing need here places you need to go. God bless you. Now let me see. Hung out with a man at my church a few times. Nothing happened. Saw that he would stop talking to him. Now he's smearing me at church. What should I do? Y'all gotta forgive me. I ain't laughing. Sometimes when y'all be telling me about these petty men, just as a grown, musky man myself, it just make me chuckle sometimes when I think about what grown, musky men be doing. So he walking around selling out and hating at the church house because you done cut him off. Listen, God forgive me, but I have to be telling my story. I have to be telling my version of the story at the church house. I have to be, I was dating, but he was verbally abusive, so I had to let him go. I have everybody who I find out he done smeared till I got to tell my side of the story. Now that might put you in sin, and it's sad that you may have to leave your own church over this, but that's a lesson right there. Or being careful about dating somebody that's at your church. Now that's a lesson about that. Now we wanna meet somebody at the church house, but it's just sometimes it don't work out. Now y'all make sure y'all put #Q in front of your question. Just started dating in 2019 at 25. I found that I am learning lessons that most girls learned early. People ridicule me for not knowing game, feel stupid, but also give grace for lack of experience. Wrong. No, you're not wrong. And it's better to learn late than early. Because see, when you learn too early, it could mess you up. Because you could become jaded. You have too many miles on you. See, at 25, now you 28 or 27, now you to be here and getting this here knowledge. Whereas somebody who 15, they don't know to be here and how to process this. So you're in a better position to process. Now, God bless you now, Lima World. God bless you. I done talked too much about blessings. People say, hey, people been saying, well, Tony don't need no blessing because he always bragging about what God doing in his life. So I'm going to keep my little blessing. Thank you, Lima World, sending me that blessing. I still appreciate it now. Met him back in December. Cut him off for not keeping words. Now says we'll work on it. Says I'm too hard on him to give time for things to change. Standards too high. No. He is a grown, musky man. And one thing about a grown man, we could teach a dog. We teach our dog how to behave. How a whole human being who's sending rockets to the moon can't learn how to treat another human being. That's really common sense, and we really shouldn't have to be taught that by nobody, because we know how we want to be treated. So when you got to treat a grown-up like a child, no, you treat a child like a child. You give a child time to get stuff right. But when you done had to tell an adult, more than one time about the same thing, no, I got to go. I got to go. I ain't got time to be dealing with your musky behind. I got to go. You too grown. You too old. Old as Methuselah, and want all of this and want all this time. No, get your act together. You got time for this. Life too short to be wasting it. My husband and I have been having issues. When I bring up any issue, he rants and screams and yells and points out my everyday habits like prayer and working out, then acts like nothing happened. Now, did your husband play football? Because sometimes those of us who played football and had concussions, we could be like that. We could ike up sometimes. And so you need to look into your husband trauma, into his experiences, into what he got going on, and you need to be able to check him directly and let him know, like, we at a breaking point, playboy. If you can't get this together, or you need to go ahead and implement therapy, get into therapy or counseling. Look like Cheryl, our only moderator tonight. God bless Cheryl. Y'all give Cheryl a round of applause. Tony, how can I get balance between being my usual friendly and loving self, and on the other hand, be able to switch and be tough when trying to be cool when my ex next door says hi without feeling bad? Now, you don't have to be tough, because friendly and loving self is tough. So you have to understand, with confidence, you could be nice and you can also be, direct and strong and self-loving, self-protecting, without having to be mean and rude. And that's your ex next door. So when he say hi, just say hi. Like, if you walk around mean mugging and you putting your head down and you're looking this way and that way and you doing all that, then he's gonna look and say, I still got her. I still got control over her. But when you can say, hey, how you doing? And just keep on going, he like, whoa, she done healed. My goodness, healed already? It'll confuse them. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. But when a person got power to make you look mad, to make you look, solemn face, then they know they still got control in your life. It's that smile. That's why they say kill them with kindness. It's that smile that's going to confuse them. That's why the song say praise confuse the adversary. What are your thoughts on a man saying, I must be able to use her social networks, and her talents must be at my disposal in the furtherance of my ambitions, which are considerable? That's what's wrong with these men today. These boys, so listen here. these boys, these boys today, oh my goodness. Listen here. My wife just called me while I'm sitting at practice and say, hey, we need $5,500 to book these flights to Boston to go to MIT for your son technology. Did you think I need to be able to expose your talents to book these flights? No, as a man, I had to make it happen. My wife is doing her job, and she doing what she do as a mom and a wife, and I do what I do as a husband and a father. So these boys here today, it just so, I've seen a post that say a lot of men today want to be treated like a nice young lady. And that's how these men is today. It's like, as a man, we got to be able to pick up slack. We got to be able to put the team on our back. And we got to go to God for rest. And, your woman going to drop it like it's hot when you need that. And going to give you the intimacy and the love and the support. But when a man go to holler and stuff like this right here, he has been listening to a podcast of somebody sitting in the dark with stuff spinning on their desk, spewing all of this from their failed marriages. That's what that is a sign of. And when I tell you, you got to put your trike shoes on so fast, and it get in the blocks. The man gonna be talking about you on his comedy show, talking about, man, this one was crazy. I messed around and said this to her. She bent down like she was doing a 100-meter dash, and she just took off. That's what I'll start doing. That's what I'll start doing when a man go to doing all that there. It's like, bro, it's like, for one, understand this right here. Duh, a woman finna come and bring her best to the table, and you know, she want her household to be healthy and strong, and she not gonna have all these connections and just sitting on them and watching the family struggle. Like, some stuff ain't even got to be said that these men saying today, and they just saying it just to have a peeing contest, and it just it's weakness. It's weakness of men today to be coming with this laundry list of stuff they need from a woman, instead of just watching how a woman move, watching how a woman act, and talking to the woman and seeing who she is, but coming with this whole laundry list and all of that right there. It's just it's weakness, because it's like social networks and all of that and talents at his disposal. It's like, get you an assistant, get you a subcontractor, get you a staff. It's like, get on your grind as a man instead of expecting your woman to be Superman for you. And that just it's just a lot of weakness today. And that's why our relationships is in what they in. Hi Tony, I have been in a toxic relationship for 3 years, going on 4. We recently bought a condo together, but the other day things got physical. I know I need to leave, but it's so hard. What can I do? Well, see, for one, sis, I can't really advise on that, because you know what you need to do, but you don't want to do what you need to do. So you asking me about it is just wasting my time and wasting your time, because you know what you want to do and you know what you need to do. But see, the thing, what we do as humans is we ask somebody, and then we make ourselves feel like we have done some work, when in reality we've done nothing. And so your key word is, hi Tony, I have been in a toxic relationship for 3 years, going on 4. That's your key words. And so you got to read that over and over and over, and you got to remind yourself that I have been in, not I have been held hostage in, not I have been forced to be in, but I have been in. So when you accept personal responsibility for your choices, that's what's going to set you free. But as long as you're looking for somebody to give you some words of consolation, or to, pat you on the back, or to, pacify you, that's going to keep you in that situation, because you're going to say, oh, I got a good word. I heard a good empowering word. And you're going to stay in that situation. And what you have to remember is, anything worth doing is hard to do. Anything that we need to do is hard to do. I need to work out today. I ain't did it yet, but I ate some Chick-fil-A. I had a shrimp pasta for lunch and had a Chick-fil-A sandwich for dinner, but did not work out. You see what I'm saying? It's easy to do what's wrong and hard to do what's right. And we are afraid to admit that as humans. But when you can admit that as a human, that's what's going to set you free. So again, the key word, Tony, I have been in, not I have been held in, I have been forced in. And listen, the thing about it is, we in this society, this society of pacifying, to where it's so many memes saying, oh, don't tell people, just leave. Oh, and it's hard for people to leave. And oh, the 7 stages of grief. And oh, the 7 stages of getting out of such and such type of relationship. And listen, we have to stop making excuses for ourselves. And we got to do what we got to do. It's going to be hard. It's going to be painful. But we got to do what we got to do. Because I'd rather die standing up than live on my knees. And that's what we got to get to. to where if you stay, you're going to meet an untimely demise. And if you leave, you risk meeting an untimely demise, but at least you go out with your dignity. And that's how I look at life. And this could be applied to a job, to a friendship, to a relationship, is you can't lay down and stay down or get knocked down and stay down. You got to go on. You got to get on up. You got to get on up and you got to be able to make a move, come up with an exit strategy, and you got to make a move. In a time of peace, you prepare for war, and then boop, boop, you out of there. You don't want to wait till everything blow up, and it's heated and it's all this and right there. And when it get physical like that right there, and y'all ain't got no real love, and you didn't warrant that or nothing, meaning nothing should warrant it. But in human nature, if you walk in and a man sleeping with another woman, you might get physical and vice versa. But if this just went there and it wasn't provocation, even though even being provoked, it still would be wrong, but it wasn't provocation and it went there, you got to go on about your business. Hey, Tony, my ex broke up with me, telling me that God told him in his dream that I am not his wife. We knew each other since high school. Later find out he is engaged. Does it mean he got away with it? I don't know what you mean by got away with it. Cause he ain't do nothing wrong. Leaving you wasn't wrong. So you can't assume that because he done got engaged that God rewarding him for being wrong, because he actually was right, for leaving you. Like, he actually did the noble thing. Because would you rather a man tell you you're not the one and move on, or drag you along and get married to you and cheat on you, and then y'all got to go through a divorce? So he actually did the noble thing as a real man should, and say, hey, you not the one, and let you as a grown woman find out how you're going to deal with that and handle that raw truth, than to lie to you and string you along. So he didn't do nothing wrong. So he didn't get away with anything, because he did the right thing. And we got to be okay with that. You got to be okay to understand that people got a choice in their life that they can make. And we can't, you can't feel like that somebody's choice got to be choosing you. And when somebody don't choose you, you got to choose you and move on with your life. Will having an ex take care of a non-biological child interfere with the next guy taking a lady serious? Absolutely. 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 100%. Absolutely. Because that's not your child daddy. And what you have to realize is you got to move on with your life, because you holding on to something that ain't got to be held on to. And the thing about it is, yeah, man could love your child, but men break up with their own kids. So a man capable of breaking up with a child that ain't his, and yes, he could love the child and all of that, but at the same time, if y'all not gonna be together, you got to let them know, well, my child don't need your love, because I'm gonna love my own child, and my child will be loved by who I end up being with. And as bad as that hurt, that's a part of life. But if you can't drive looking in the rearview mirror, and that's what you will be doing in a case like that, and it'll be unfair to the man that come in your life for you to want a man to be okay with another man having strings attached to you when your child is not that man's child. And then you want this man that you get with to be okay with you having a child and to love your child like his own, but then now your child got two stepdaddies. You asking too much of a human being. And if the table would turn, you wouldn't be okay with that as a woman. Because y'all, a lot of women be ready for the man to cut off his child actual baby mama, the mama of the child. A lot of women be that territorial now. So you can't ask a man to do something you wouldn't do. So you got to, and that's what the one thing I try to tell y'all, I call it straight down the middle. I call it straight down the middle. I'm not on the man's side. I'm not on the woman's side. I'm on the side of what's right. And we got to be okay with that. And I think a lot of times on these platforms, it's a person that's one side or the other and build this disgruntled, hateful audience who hate the other side. That ain't what this about. I'm trying to tie the red and the blue flag together. The red and blue rags together. I'm trying to tie them together. And let's build some unison and let's heal our land instead of being divided, men versus women, women versus men, and instead of us just seeing right from wrong. And that's what we got to get to. KVA, God bless you now. God bless you. Canada, $13.99. God bless you now. Dating for 3 months. Let me see how I could do that. Let me put that one on the screen. Oh, it won't let me put that on the screen from up top. Let me answer this. Y'all might could see it. Dating for 3 months. Talk every day. Going on dates twice a week. Now complaining because he's the one always reaching out, planning and paying for dates. Should I do more in courtship? I have my own money. I mean, you should reach out to him. Like, hey, how are you? But it's a man's job to court. It's a man's job to court. Like we, especially if y'all in Canada, but y'all ain't in Africa. Like in Africa, a man got to pay dowry. In certain parts of Africa, even today, a man got to go over there and say, "Hey, I'm gonna give y'all $100,000, for y'all to be with y'all daughter." It's like over here, it's like at least we ain't got to pay no dowry. And so it's like the least we could do as men is be okay paying for dates and reaching out to the woman and courting the woman. It just these new age men, man. I'm telling you, it's happening because of these broke, busted, and disgusted men on these podcasts, and they building weak men because they weak men. I could look at these guys with these podcasts and tell they soft as cotton candy in hot sun, and tell that they were bullied growing up by men and women, and they didn't go to therapy and heal. I mean, they get these platforms and they go to spewing this weakness to these men. Grown, musky men complaining about courting the woman that they want to marry, knowing that in marriage, you're going to be flipping and tossing this woman. Everything going down in marriage. And it's like, to put in a little bit of work, and he 3 months in complaining. What he going to be doing a year in? You reach out to me. And he's like, my daddy reach out to me. My daddy reach out to me. And now you reaching out. And it's like, come on now, bro. Like, you got to go to therapy. You got to go to therapy. And it's like, that's a part of being a man, is working for the heart of a woman. You go and bust your butt, kissing your boss behind for a 401k, and they could fire you any day. And then you don't want to work for the woman that you want to have your children, and she finna put on stretch marks and put on weight, back finna be hurting, leg, hips finna spread, thing finna be split, might got to get a little stitches, might have to get cut across her stomach, ain't gonna be able to sleep, got to give birth to the baby, then got to go through postpartum, and got to be waking up every 2 hours because you got a job and you talking about you need your sleep. So she waking up every 2 hours with postpartum depression to feed the baby. Then she breastfeeding the baby because she's trying to get that natural God milk instead of the formula. And then now these here touching her kneecaps from all that breastfeeding or pumping if she got the pump. And here we is as men complaining about initiating the phone calls and initiating the date. It's like, man, y'all boy got the man up. That's manhood. That's part of being a man. My goodness. It's like, and this is what men fail to do. Men fail to think about if you got a daughter. Imagine your daughter dating a grown, musky man, and you walk past your daughter's room and your daughter, oh, hey, how are you? I just want to reach out to you and ask you, will you be open for a date this week? And it's on me. As a man, imagine you heard your daughter saying that. You finna kick down the door. What the world, girl? What you here doing? That man supposed to be dating you. And men forget about that. And we can't forget that. You got to understand, like, that part of manhood. Like, part of manhood is you going that extra mile. We got to do better. Hi, Tony. What's the cutoff for dating multiple people when I want to get serious with one? When you want to get serious with one, that's the cutoff. That's the cutoff. So it's like this right here. If you go on a date on Monday, you go on a date on Wednesday, you go on a date on Friday, and that's 3 different men that you went on a date with, based on them conversations. If one of them listened to the man in the dark, you know he got to get cut off immediately. Then the next 2, you dating them, and dating is just going on dates. Y'all just talking. Y'all getting to know each other. You're not sleeping with them. You ain't making no promises. You ain't telling them all your business about if you talking to somebody else. It's like, listen, I'm not even talking to you. We going on dates. We ain't talking yet. And men don't like that, but as men, we do the same thing. You rarely gonna meet a man that's only talking to one woman at a time until he choose the one. And a lot of men never choose the one. They keep multiple. So, but the thing about it is we so sick that a taste of our own medicine might kill us. So when we find out a woman getting multiple dates, we be ready to flip a wig, blow a gasket. And so you have to understand, you don't kiss and tell. You don't tell people what you're doing with your life, but you analyze it and you make a decision. So when you see this man over here got the most character, the most integrity, then you go ahead and let the other man know. You let the other man, hey, this is not going to work. You don't keep juggling them and playing them and telling this man y'all exclusive, but then talking to other men. That's how you play yourself. You go ahead and bow out gracefully when you see that one of the guys you done went on a date with is likely to be the one. A woman busy being blessed. A woman got my number from my man's phone and called me to say she's in a relationship with him. He said she was lying. I later caught him at her house. I kicked him out and he moved in with her. Well, ain't that a doozy? My goodness. Now, you ain't have no question. I guess you want to tell your testimony. But ain't that a doozy? Sis, that's a tough one. But hey, you got to have the mentality of good riddance. You got to have the mentality of good riddance. You ain't lose nothing. You gain something. You gain your peace and your clarity. What does a man feel about an unwed mother of 3 who is open to dating? Well, it depends on the man. Now, see, listen, this is the thing. When it come down to a man with a woman with kids, that man got to feel like he would drink your dirty bath water. If the man don't feel like he would drink your dirty bath water out of a straw with a hole in it, with a slit in the side of it, it likely ain't gonna work. Because this is the thing, what you have to remember. As men, we struggle to love our own kids. As men, the way our heart is built by society, As men, we'll kick our own kids out the house. So how you think a man feel about another man kids? So y'all have to be real about that. That's real. When these guys in the dark tell y'all that a lot of men is not it, that's the truth. And that's why I tell y'all that yes, you could meet your husband, but you just can't be pawning your children off. You got to protect your children. You got to read this man energy. And if he act like your children is any problem whatsoever, keep it moving. Because you do not want to force your children onto a man. That's the worst thing you could do. To try to coerce a man or trick a man or force a man or beg a man to love your kids. That's the worst thing you could do. You want a man who is so into you that your children are not seen as baggage. They seen as a bonus. They seen as a blessing because he get to know them and be there for them so that he could be there for you. That's the energy you want to feel from this man. You don't want to feel nothing less. Nothing less. Recently been thinking about X a lot. Hey, y'all, we got 29 more minutes. I got to go. I told my wife I'd be over here at 10 o'clock. She be doing her little work. If my son's still up doing homework, I might be able to stay up a little later. Recently been thinking about X a lot after 3 months breakup, and it puts me in a sad way. Staying busy between work and school. Feel like I can't stay busy enough. Any tips to forget about him completely? Well, the thing about it is you running from it. When you can't get over it, and you can't get under it, and you can't get around it, you got to go through it. And so to go through it, you need to spend a whole day just thinking about him and just feeling and just remembering why you left him, and write down the things he did and the things he said and read them to yourself and remind yourself of the pain and remind yourself of why you left. Because see, the way the mind is created, the mind is created to self-soothe. The mind is created to heal. So after some time, we forget the sting of the pain. We remember what happened, but we forget what it felt like. And so your mind is healing and it's you self-soothing. And so now you willing to go back and get another tattoo. See, when you get that tattoo, you like, never again. What in the world was I thinking? Oh, Lord, I can't get up with half a butterfly because I'm walking around here with the butterfly with one wing like a Maya Angelou poem. So I got to sit here and finish getting this whole butterfly put on me, but never again. But after a month passed and that thing done healed up and done got its color, now you like, you remember that you told yourself this hurt and I'll never do it again, but you can't remember the pain, what it felt like. And so you go back to get tattoo number 2, and then number 3, and number 4, and number 5 until you grow up. Then you stop getting tattooed. That's the same thing with relationships. Until we grow up, we keep running back to the pain. And so you got to understand that. Why would a man converse with a woman he's been caught cheating with? Claims she came up to him, but we were supposed to be working on our relationship. She could have came up to him. And it just, most people is not confrontational. So if he just was, hey, how you doing? Yeah, all right, everything, that could have just been what it was. And so you got to ask yourself if you okay with that. And or if you just wanted him to put his head down and just walk real fast and treat her like the plague, which is what he should have did. But just some people not like that. Some people not confrontational like that. Now, if you know he got that kind of energy to put his head down and treat somebody like the plague, then he ain't got no excuse for talking to her. But if you know he's a people pleaser and he's not like that, then you got to understand who you with. Met a music producer, single dad, was touchy-feely, put boundaries that he respected and checked him. He still brought up wanting, he didn't ask questions about me. Was I wrong to leave him? No, you weren't wrong to leave him. You ain't never wrong to leave now. Sometimes you is, but that's your standard. That's your standards. You got to stand on your standards. And you don't ask nobody for permission about your standards. Stand on your standards. Our company is not doing so well, but I want to stay and wait for the breakthrough. But how could I know when this battle isn't worth to fight? Thank you so much, sir. I got a quote that went viral that say, if you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to help them build theirs. So your responsibility ain't somebody else company ain't your responsibility. If that ain't your purpose and your calling, then you fighting the wrong battle. Now, if it's your purpose and your calling, that could be a little different. Alex said, oh, God bless you. Does number of kids matter? And I have one son who is under 5. I see some of y'all new here. Y'all ain't watched my videos. Yes, it matters. Anything got to do with kids matter. Kids matter. That's a whole human being. Kids matter. They're always going to matter. So the number of them matter. And they gender, that matters as well, because it depends on who you're dealing with. And then under 5, that matters as well, because you don't know who you with. So it could be a man who, I always say you shouldn't be dating if your child under 5. Now, not dating, like you could date, but you shouldn't have people around your child who is under 5, because they need to be. And even when they older, even when they 10, 11, sometimes 15, they still don't speak up if the person you date and do something inappropriate. So you got to really make sure you know what you're doing. Let me see. How to find my purpose. I love people. I would love to open a nonprofit for women, but I'm still healing. Should I wait on God timing or focus on my healing first? You never gonna be fully healed. It ain't really a such thing as being 100%. We blessed if we get to 80%. And people lying if they tell you be 100, because if you're 100, that means you're perfect. So you always gonna feel the sting. If you rub a scar too much, it's gonna hurt. Even though the cut and healed and in the form of new skin, you rub that scar long enough, you're gonna start to feel some pain. And so that's what you got to understand. A part of your healing is helping other people heal. So you never want to wait till you perfect. You want to wait till you get to a place to where you got the desire and the capacity to help somebody, but you're never going to be perfect. But I got a course called Entrepreneurship with Purpose. And make sure you get that on TonyGasslerAcademy.com. That'll help you a lot. Do the homework with it and take your time with it and all of that. We got about 22 minutes. How do men really feel about a woman's hygiene? I have a very handsome son in his late 20s, and so many of his friends are smelly and unkept, but beautiful and fashionable. Is funky the new fly? I really ain't heard about these stank women. So your son, so the latest sister, you might be smelling these women after your son and got done power driving them. It just really ain't women just walk around just stink for fun now. They might have straightened that wig up or straighten that weave up. But your son probably done got done putting that lumber on them. And that's what you smelling. Cause they just ain't walking around stink. That ain't that. So, but see, a lot of time mamas be too blind to see that. I remember when I was 17, I heard my mama say to one of her friends, my son too shy to climb on top of a woman. And at 17, I probably hadn't slept with about 20 girls already. And I heard my mama tell her friends that. I said, Lord, I said, Lord, forgive me. My mom in the lost. I'm in here wearing these. I'm out here all on the floor with these women. I'm in the back seat. I'm in the baseball dugout after school. My mama talking about I'm too shy. I was very shy and quiet, but that's one thing I wasn't shy about. Is going after no woman. And that's one thing most men ain't shy about. And especially if they got any kind of extrovertism, meaning I was an athlete. I was shy and quiet, but I was a star athlete. Number one rushing in the county in football, number 5 scorer in basketball. And so that gave me my, out there. But that to me, it sounds like you might be smelling a little bit of your son on the women. So yeah, that ain't the new fly though, sister. That definitely ain't the new fly. I'm focusing on my career and my business. Men often approach me, however, after a few dates and no, they say you have a lot going on. What does that mean? It means you got a lot going on. Because you just said you focus on your career and your business. So he just acknowledging that he could tell your focus is on your career and your business, and he wondering why you dating. And it really ain't about the not sleeping with you, because deep down, that's what a man want. He want a woman that respect her body and won't just give her body away. Because a man who want a woman want a prize. He don't want no woman that don't respect her body or understand her worth. So, you got to realize that. This Sister Hill, I'm going to answer that one. Let me see. I have yet to meet a man that puts in effort. Could it just be the state of men today, or I'm just running into men that isn't interested? They also be very inconsistent and I block them. It could be a little bit of everything, but the state of men today is not the greatest because of the podcast that's out here. And I'm gonna tell you, it affects me. It like these podcasts, I only get to see clips because I don't watch the whole thing because I'm mindful of what I put in my mind. But just the clips y'all send me messed my marriage up. Had me around here wondering, man, I deserve more. Man, I'm supposed to be getting treated like this. Man, what's going on, man? I'm a simp. I went to questioning myself. Then I had to realize, and I had to wake up, and I had to say, Tony, man, look how blessed you is. Look at what God did in your life. And look at the men who saying this. Broke, busted, and disgusted. Or getting rich off of selling hate, selling confusion and chaos. And really ask yourself, is this the kind of man or men that you will look up to? Really look at this man, and you could tell this man was overlooked by women his whole life. Really look at this man, and you could tell this man was thumped in the back of the head by the football players when walking down the hallway. Really look at this man, and you could tell this man was stomped on growing up, and he did not go to therapy. He did not go to Jesus. He did not open a Bible. He did not heal. And now he trying to convince sorry men that they the prize. It's the revenge of the lames. And I had to wake up, and I know better. So a man who not reminding himself every day of his kingsmanship, his priesthood, his royalty, of the sacrifice and consecration that it takes to be a warrior, a man who's not reminding himself of what it takes to be a man, will fall into the trap of wanting to be catered to and wanting to be praised and wanting to be pedestalized. And that's what's breaking down society in these relationships. Caprice, God bless you now. Restoration, God bless you. How should women dodge the question early on in the dating phase? Men always seem to slip the topic into the conversation somehow. That's just men. It's gonna happen. I'm married and still be slipping it in the conversation with my wife every day. And that's my wife. So it's like, I shouldn't even have to be asking or talking about it, but I'm still gonna do it. That's just men. So you just ignore, redirect. So how about them Cowboys? redirect. Then when he pick up on the conversation about the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, then you reinforce, meaning you continue to talk about it. But don't let it perturb you. Don't let it stress you. Don't let it frustrate you. It's really just a man bumping his gums. Would a man be more willing to date if son lives with father? Yes, he would be, but that's really not a question that you should be asking or a question that you should be considering. Because for you to ask that sound like you think about sending your son to live with his daddy so that you could get a man. Like, that's the man problem. If he don't want to date you because you got a son and your son living with you, that ain't a man you want to be within 100 yards of. So you got to be careful with the stuff you entertaining, the thoughts you entertaining. You don't want nobody that don't want you and yours. So don't even entertain stuff like that. That's you're going down a rabbit hole. Should you change your religion to your boyfriend's religion when you're dating? No, you should not. No, you should not. You should not. Lord. Mm, 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 mm. Now, y'all really be y'all. God bless y'all. God bless y'all. Oh my goodness. This why I do the work that I do. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I started doing this work at 22 years old, this is why I did it. Because I looked and I saw that women was willing to do anything for a man. And me as a man knew that us as men were not deserving of what women were willing to give up just to have a man. Just to be able to say, I got a husband. Y'all got a husband and y'all got a baby daddy. Y'all got a house with a fence and y'all kids in private school. What y'all willing to give up is mind-boggling to me. And there has to be some type of movement that empowers women to know that you more than just a wife. You more than just a depository for a man. That you a whole human being. You can't compromise your self-worth and your self-respect and your standards for no man. The God you serve got to be bigger than the man that you with. Got to. Because that's your foundation. That's what you building on. That's what you got in your loneliness and your tough times and your darkness. Your faith, that's gonna be your rock. So you can't give up your rock for a rock. You can't do that. Because you can't count on humans. You can't put everything into a human. You need to have faith. You got to have your faith. Y'all be willing to give up too much now. My finance and I are together. Okay, I see you meant fiance. My fiance and I are together 9 years and plan. What? Oh, no. Let me read it again. My fiance and I are together 9 years and planning a wedding. A month ago, I overheard him inviting his ex to our wedding. Also, him and I care not going to get along even after marriage. Should I cancel it? So yeah, yeah, you need to cancel that. I hate to say it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. So you need to cancel that. You need to cancel that. That's not your husband. Unfortunately, it's been 9 long years, and I know you done gave up a lot of your life. Sis, that's not your husband. That's not what the Lord got for you. That Cause as a man, when we into a woman, we with our woman, we not even gonna be talking to no ex. And we ain't not gonna be inviting no ex to no wedding. So what he doing is the ex he talking to is his queen, and you a pawn. And he using you because he know deep down his ex want marriage. And his ex might still be looking at him as like the one who got away. And he making like he God's gift to you, but you the devil gift to him. So he pawning you so he could checkmate with her. Sister, you being played. You being played, my sister. But I know that's easier said than done. Boy, y'all hear everything under the sun and still be staying. How to react about a man wanting a business before marriage. I cut the guy off because it's been 5 years. Well, I'll be honest with you. I used to always say that was an excuse. But being a provider and paying the bills, I understand what men be getting at. And I just never saw it like that because I got married at 23. And I wasn't really a man that thought I was going to be a provider. I still was thinking, I was like some of these grown boys today. But being a provider and taking care of my family, I'm like, man, you do need some money now. So it's like I get it and I don't get it. Now, more so, it's the 5 years part than it is him wanting a business. And it's easy to get a business though. You start an LLC and be selling t-shirts to have a business. Like a business ain't that hard to start. So if it take him 5 years to start $125 LLC, that's a little more alarming. And so that's what make it sound like an excuse. But yeah. Hey, Tony, my ex broke up with me telling me that God told him in his dream that I remember. I already answered that one. How the thing went up? Oh, yeah, some of y'all posted your question multiple times. Hey, Tony, I have an associate homegirl that had with the guy she just met. We all hung out recently. I just met him. He wants something serious with me. What are your thoughts? Would he see me as wrong? Well, the thing about it is you'll be a little crazy to believe he wants something serious with you if he already slept with your homegirl. And that's just awkward. That's just awkward. And be honest with you, it ain't a whole lot of men, but it's more than that for you to be with a man who done slept with your homegirl. And you really got to, like Stephen R. Covey say, begin with the end in mind. So it's like, is you gonna cut your homegirl off? Now it's an associate homegirl, so you could cut off, but it's different when you know the person that slept with. It's one thing to understand that a person ain't no virgin. It's another thing to know somebody the person that slept with. That's gonna hit different, and that may bother you. It would bother me as a man, and it would bother men, but that might be the difference with some women. That might be the difference with women, because how y'all be sometimes, like Rachel and Leah. Oh, you sleep with them tonight, I'll sleep with them tomorrow night. I can't wrap my head around that. That wouldn't even be a question. If I met a woman and she done slept with my homeboy, I'm not gonna touch her in a serious way with a 10-foot pole. I don't want no parts of that. Because how the mind work, I'd be laying down trying to get some sleep, and I just see him in my head power driving on it. Oh my goodness. I wouldn't even be able to function. But maybe I'm mentally weak, but I just, I won't be able to be with somebody who slept with somebody that I know. It's just too many people in the world for that for me. I go to another country and find somebody and get them a green card before I do that. No, sister. No, sister. All right, we coming on to an end because I'm starting to see a lot of the same questions over that y'all done posted. So I might have done answered quite a few of these. We got about 5 minutes left. I've been doing, how long I started a little late. I've been doing my best to keep boundaries with my coaching clients. Question. Some want to become friends. Is it best to keep clear with coaching clients, not to become more than clients? Thoughts, Tony? If it's a man, for sure. If it's a man, for sure. If it's a man who like women, for sure. If it's a woman who like women, for sure, you need to keep boundaries. Now, if it's a woman who like men and you could use a friend, some clients will become more than clients. Some clients will become friends. And sometimes coaching could have divine intersections in it. So like my current assistant is a young lady who lives on the other side of the country who hired me for coaching. And I had been praying for an assistant, but it was a certain type of assistant I was looking for. Somebody that I felt their spirit and that they didn't have a Jezebel spirit, and somebody that I felt a pureness about, that I know my heart would be in the right place and their heart would be in the right place. And I had been praying for that. And then this young lady hired me for coaching, and she happened to be an office assistant for her ex-boyfriend's mom. And so she needed a change of scenery. So I asked her what she being paid, and then I gave her a raise and paid her more than that. And 2 weeks later, she became my assistant. So sometimes that could happen in coaching. Now, if you ain't no believer, I ain't talking to you. But sometimes that could happen. ZZ, God bless you now. Pretty tar. Welcome to the new members. Yeah, I think I answered a lot of questions now. Ex ranting about me on social media after breakup. It's been 2 weeks. Why is he behaving this way? He hurt. He heard. Something. Failure hurts. Rejection hurts. He heard. My boyfriend said I was nagging about him checking, not checking, and sometimes or answering phone. I told him to leave. He said that's not the always their answer. Now I haven't heard from him 2 days. I'm sad. Well, sis, I mean, you brought that on yourself. So you can't be too sad now. Naisha, God bless you now. Hey, so look like I done got all these here questions. Now listen to me. Y'all listening, you really got to get this, and you got to remember, we closing up. You got to remember your standards. For one, to remember your standards, you got to set standards. You got to set standards. And you got to know what you're worth. And you got to realize that when you set your worth and you know your worth, you're going to get what you're worth. But if you just going around and you willing to accept whatever somebody going to give you, then you're going to get plucked up for a whole lot less than you deserve. And so you have to understand that. The overall theme I seen tonight is just, it's so many women that's settling and that's just putting up with nonsense. And so you missing out on your blessing because you just want to settle with the first thing come along. And you tell yourself, oh, it ain't going to get no better. But that's not true. That's not the case. Life going to give what you demand, but you got to be the equivalent of what you demanding, meaning you got to get to that level. You can't say I want to be a surgeon and you got a GED. So, but if you get to that level of education that a surgeon got, and you get out of med school and you go do your residency and your fellowship and all of that there, then you're gonna be a surgeon. So you got to become what you want to attract, because you're gonna attract what you are, not what you want. And you got to understand that. And so when you are becoming, then you can't be with somebody that's not becoming. So you have to remember that and understand that it's never too late to leave. Don't, because life is only but so long. Alpha Joe, God bless you. So you got to be willing to walk away, because 10 years could feel like a lifetime. So if you say, well, I only got 10 years left to live, that's a lifetime with the right person, and that's a lifetime with the wrong person. So don't say, oh, because I've been with this person 9 years, I gotta stay. No, you got a whole life ahead of you. You got so much more living to do. You got to let that go, and you got to love yourself. So, hey, this Tony Gasson, God bless you. Now, if you missed anything, then you get on over to TonyGassonAcademy.com and grab what you need. I got played a couple months ago, and now I feel jealous of people getting engaged and having kids. How do I stop that? It's just a mental thing, and you got to understand you ain't lose nothing, you gain something. You gain your peace, you gain your independence. So now you got to say, you know what? Now I'm in a position to get what they get. And you also can't never be jealous of what somebody else got, because you don't know what they got. You don't know what they got. If you don't live with them, you ain't behind closed doors, they could have nails under their pillow. You don't know what they got. Don't ever be jealous of somebody else that you don't live with, that you not with and around, because you can't never tell. Can't never tell. Ain't no relationship without blemish. Everybody going through something. Everybody struggling. Everybody building something. Everybody trying to get something right. So it ain't nothing to be jealous of. No relationship is worth being jealous of, because I heard Ashton Kutcher say one time, of all the people in the world, he sent a tweet. He said, if we all put our problems down in a pile, everybody will go pick up their own problems, because we built to deal with what we got to go through. But you can't deal with what I got to go through, and I can't deal with what you got to go through. And that's what we got to understand. So, hey, God bless y'all. To the Blessed Tribe and the Blessed Business Tribe, I really appreciate you, and for being on here. And to those of you on Patreon, God bless you. That Patreon support put me in a position to where I'll be producing some extracurricular type programs for YouTube, thanks to the Patreon supporters, because it's different levels on there, all the way up to $50. And there's some people at that $50. So that's really moving the needle. And so we got the next production. We already did titles. If you missed titles, go to the playlist and you'll see titles. But the next one will be a little different, but that's coming up next month. So I'm casting some people from the Patreon to be a part of that, and we'll keep going. Jubilee, God bless you now. God bless you. Hey, God bless y'all, and we'll talk soon. Can't promise when, but Lord willing, it'll be soon.